welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us today. We are at the Cloud Expo in New York 2011 at the Jacob Javits Center. On our program today is Andy Land, the VP of Marketing at UnboundID. His company makes cloud database services. Is that
That's correct. We're a cloud identity database.
So tell me more about that.
Sure. So if you know Facebook or any of the large cloud guys that try to store a lot of profile information about all of us, all the folks here at the show today, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of data that you want to store. It's personal information, friend information, all kinds of stuff. We call those attributes. That's all the things about you. That's got to be stored in an extremely high-scale, performant database so that all the applications that you want to use and access have the data so they can make smart decisions. Like a lot of times you see on an application, it'll say, can I use your location to help with whatever the application may be doing. That's one attribute that we could store about you. But we store thousands of those attributes, and that number of data that people want to store about you and you want to store about yourself is growing actually much more rapidly than the amount of people there are out there.
Now, who are your typical customers?
Big customers like the telecommunications providers like AT&T, Verizon, Intuit is another big customer. So kind of the cloud, the software as a service guys, the big telco guys. So anyone that has a large subscriber base of customers. So think of like extranet, Web 2.0, the applications that are hitting all of us that we want to access. So
now, in terms of where you're seeing the growth, are you seeing all those companies across the board, just everyone in the cloud growing on your services?
Yeah, obviously there's more people with the smartphones coming along that want access to these different applications and services. That's one side. But think about most software companies, especially on the consumer side, like an Intuit or any of the other guys that we commonly use. Remember, they used to send us a disk, a CD. We'd put that in. That's how we'd use their product. Today, they're all transforming their businesses to software as a service. So as they do that, they have access to many more subscribers, and now they have to maintain that infrastructure themselves. But before, you were accessing their product through a CD. Now they have a relationship with you, a billing relationship over the internet, and they have to store all that data about you someplace. And we're the guy that helps them with that in a secure, sort of way.
Now, in terms of how the market has evolved over the last few years, have you seen anything?
Sure. I'm definitely seeing you see the space growing rapidly as far as guys like Rackspace, who is here today. Obviously, they came out of nowhere as a big cloud guy. Amazon, we used to think of as a book vendor, and now they're one of the biggest cloud guys out there. You see in the industry, look at AT&T, Verizon, they are buying cloud guys every day. Verizon bought Tehrani, who's one of the guys who's here. Another guy that recently got purchased, Savvis, got bought by CenturyTel. So you're seeing a consolidation. The telcos and the cloud guys are kind of forming one kind of grouping. So there's a very rapid movement toward kind of getting in on this thing before it's too late.
So what are some of the competitive things that somebody can do, or reasons that somebody may not purchase from you, and give me the reasons why, the benefits of working with your company?
Sure. Well, first off, a lot of the cloud companies are new companies, so they have a strong development heritage. Like a Facebook, they're a development company.
Sure.
So they're going to go take open source products and cobble it together and build their own thing. And they're very good at it because, again, their core competency is applications and building stuff. But for companies that their core competency isn't necessarily development, but they still need to provide an infrastructure for users, we're a very strong option for them. And that's the folks that tend to come to us, where they have a project where they're trying to unify their identity and people data in one common place. Because today it's all over the place. It's in a database over here, it's in a file system over here. And that makes dealing with their customers one unified personality very difficult. So those guys want our help. Now there are other guys, like I said, that can do it themselves. And that's fine. If that's in their core competency, they should go ahead and do it themselves.
Now, what about security issues? Obviously, every company's got to deal with this, but in your case, what are some of the challenges there, and maybe some of the things your customers are asking you about security?
Yeah, that's one of the things we do very, very well. Again, as an identity database, we have strong security at the data level. So that's one of the great things. Where you actually store your data, we have it fully encrypted. We have what we call data in rest security policies and data in motion. So while it's at rest, only certain people can access it, only certain people can change it. You knew all the who, what, when, where, how, of who's touched every piece of your critical personal people data. And then when it moves, when you're moving it to a third party or you're moving it to another application, we have data in motion kind of security policies that you set that determine how that data gets used by a third-party application. So it's something we take very, very seriously because, again, if we're going to all move to the cloud, what's the number one thing CIOs say that's a detriment to cloud? It's security.
Right.
Because for them, it's like, this is my data, this is my business. If I give this to someone else, I got to know they're taking care of it well. And so that's something we take very seriously because most of our customers are the cloud guys that enterprises want to move their data to.
Now, yesterday, Apple's iCloud announcement, does that help the industry? What does it do to us as an industry?
I think well, obviously Apple's a market leader, so anytime a market leader makes a major move, I think it helps, it validates the industry, right? I mean, the flip side of that is, obviously when Amazon had the outage recently, that became a black eye. We need to move past that. Or Sony had the big breach, data breach into PlayStation. Right. Those things are black eyes that put people to say, is this a fad or is it a trend?
Right.
That's the way I always think about these things. Are we really this time around on the trend line or are we on the fad line? I feel like we've crossed the edge where we are on the trend. There's too much benefits to cloud to not to use it. But then I thought that back in 1999 when I launched a application as a service, and that didn't take off.
Well,
right?
we launched a communications ASP magazine in 2001 and the timing wasn't right, but if you think about it, 90-something% of the country outsources or puts their payroll in the cloud.
Absolutely.
And has been doing so for decades.
Yep.
So, it's not a new concept,
right,
really.
And it works, right? Because
it does, it works great.
Where it works, and
that has to be secure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Or we wouldn't do it, right? HR, there's many things that can be put in the cloud effectively, and we're getting there. And many of the companies that are here today that you're talking to and we partner with and talk to, we're all helping make that happen. But I do think one of the things that's important is we get out of the hype and we stay in reality. What can we really do? Let's not overhype this thing, because what kills these kind of trends, if you will, and turns them into fads is when you overhype it and then it doesn't live up to expectations and promises, because then customers back off,
right.
And when they start backing off, the word gets out.
Right.
IT professionals talk to each other and they say, this didn't work for me.
Right.
Then that puts the fear, or for them, this is a risk, and they take risk very seriously, as they should.
Andy, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Great to see you.
You too. Take care.